Welcome to the Clive Barker Podcast, episode 128. In this episode, we talk about Clive Barker news. We get all caught up on Clive Barker news, and is there a TV show coming up for the Great and Secret Show? Find out that and lots of other stuff coming up. And before we get to the episode, I did want to talk really briefly here about Jorte Calendar. Jorte's a great calendar journaling solution for Android and iOS. You can use it to keep track of your life, sync with your Apple or Google calendars, and follow events and sports as well. Check it out. It's free to download, and you can do some neat customizations if you want to pay a little extra to really make it stand out and make it yours. Please use the custom URL bit.ly/pinhead calendar. So that's bit.ly/pinhead calendar, and they'll know you got it from us. And we thank Jorte Calendar for your support. Next up, I want to talk again about Don Bertram's Celebrate Imagination. So we've talked about this before on the podcast, but Don Celebrate Imagination is dedicated to benefiting the Arts and Medicine program at Texas Children's Cancer Center. Up to 50% of the proceeds benefit this program, where the artist Don Bertram volunteers monthly. Please join us in donating to the program at Texas Children's Cancer Center. I love his artwork, and this year I bought all my Christmas cards from Celebrate Imagination, 250 of them, as well as art books, which are great. There's a link in the show notes on the main website at clivebarkercast.com that will take you where you need to go to get one of his prints or art books and help out this wonderful program. So any friend of Clive Barker's is a friend of ours, and we thank Don for his support. We're at episode 128, and this may be our final episode for the year, or we might be able to squeeze in the year in review before January. I'm not. We'll see how that shakes out, I guess, with our schedules and everything.
Okay, so we're at episode 128, and we're going into our 5th year of the podcast, which it's been a great adventure.
Yeah. I guess to start out with Clive Barker news, there's been a lot of stuff going on at the Real Clive Barker store.
Mm-hmm. A lot of merchandise, new merchandise.
Yeah, there was new artwork, right? And
there's new merchandise at the Clive Barker's official store. It's a season to be jolly and to buy gifts for other people and your family and stuff. And if you have any Clive Barker fans, I'm sure there's a lot of cool stuff being sold right now. And so they got
and they had promotion codes on Facebook, and one for them if you're on their mailing list. And
Terry Cat women's t-shirts, Decker Rorschach men's t-shirts, Terry Cat book bags, Terry bundle, and the Maximilian Bacchus book is now back into stock, available.
Yay! So we've had people asking about that. Because sometimes it's hard to find. So I wonder if that's the paperback or the hardcover.
It's the hardcover.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, I always keep an eye on the lookout for stuff like that on their page, because that's how I got those books, was going to the...
Yeah, and the holiday season is still in full swing.
There's like free shipping too until the 31st of December.
Oh, wow.
From the store when you buy from there. So
that's nice.
Keep that in mind as well. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to include the coupon code Santa Clive. So.
Yeah, Santa Clive.
That's funny.
I like that.
All those pins and little notebooks and stuff with Pinhead's face.
Yeah.
It's always good for nerds like us.
Exactly.
So this one I didn't really know much about. Michael Graves' Legacy Collection has Clive Barker artwork in it. Is he? I read something on that you wrote, Rob. He's from the Misfits.
Yeah, he was former singer from the Misfits. He replaced, I guess, when they started back up. Yeah, I guess when they started back up, I guess in the 90s.
Yeah.
He was their lead singer.
Oh.
And he's gone on to do his own stuff.
Okay.
I'm y'all Misfits fans?
I like the old stuff, but I've not really, picked up on the new stuff much.
Gotcha.
But I've heard it's good.
What is his Legacy Collection? Like a box set of music?
It's a 6 CD set. Yeah.
And Clive Barker's doing artwork for the cover or the interior?
Yeah, cover stuff, interior, I believe.
Okay.
There are only going to be 13 sets.
It's not
cost $250, and it's like high-quality art prints of the Legacy Collection cover art signed by the artist, legendary horror man himself, Clive Barker, and Michelle Graves, or Michael Graves.
Yeah, those might be out now, though, because I think I reported on that like last month, so I don't know if that's still an option.
Nice.
It was
I
just
can't believe they only did 13 copies of it.
Yeah. They will include the autographs of both artists, and the prints will be 11 by 14 inches and printed on archival paper and produced with archival pigment-based inks. You will also receive a signed and numbered copy of the Legacy Collection 6 CD set. So this was a Kickstarter campaign.
So with only 13 copies, that's like friends and family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. It's very limited. It's going to be very valuable.
Dark Regions. So this is a really old story, so I went back and checked it before I put it on our podcast. But you can still get their bundle with Midnight Meat Train and Imaginer 2 and 3 at on the Dark Regions website. I believe when I checked last night, they still had 11 of them left.
That's, not a bad deal.
Yeah.
Not that bad. I mean, because aren't the individual releases for the books like 120 a piece?
Yes. Well, I think they range between 100 and like 120.
Okay.
This Clive Barker Imaginer bundle is still available in the Dark Regions website. It costs $195, and there's 12 copies in stock at the time of our recording.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's like getting one of the books for free.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Good deal.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, so Tommy Hudson talked about, he sort of let it slip out that he was going to be working on a Clive Barker documentary.
Yeah, I hope this will be something really special, I think. I guess they're working on it right now, and, he sounds like, he's done a lot of really good documentaries with, like, he's worked on The Id and Crystal Lake Memories, and those are really big documentaries.
Huh.
And have y'all seen Down Street, was it Never Sleep Again documentary?
Yeah. I've seen that one, and I've seen Crystal Lake Memories. Really good. It in many ways reminded me of, obviously Leviathan reminded me of these documentaries because they came first. But it's a Leviathan-style documentary about the whole franchise of Friday the 13th. So that's cool.
Leviathan
I'm hoping
style, like it's really long.
Yeah, It's pretty. I'm hoping this will have that kind of scope to it. It's going to be talking about his, going into his kind of, I guess, mind and how he works.
Oh, that's cool.
Clive Barker as a person, Clive Barker as a creator, Clive Barker as an artist, and just really looking at how someone of his artistic caliber and creativity functions and brings things into the world, why we love those things so much, and why the things that he's created have clearly become iconic. So that's looking forward to this. There's been a few other documentaries that kind of fell to the wayside. I remember one where they were supposed to do a documentary about Clive Barker, and it was going to involve like a Cenobite that Clive Barker created just for that documentary. Remember about that?
Oh, yeah, right, yeah.
And that, I don't think that happened. I think that kind of just fell to the wayside. So I would love to see more documentaries about Clive Barker because I think he's a really fascinating artist, and I think there's a lot of interest there.
And as we're recording this, today is the 16th of December, and so this is just about gone. Maybe by the time this comes out, it might be over. But Paradise Street, the Clive Barker play, it has a production in San Francisco at the Exit Theater, and it's going to be finished up on the 17th of December.
Yep, that's right. And if you've read Clive Barker's theater play books, you might have read Paradise Street. And there's been a San Francisco Examiner review of this. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like it's very good towards the production of this play.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
They say something like they talk about Clive Barker's play as a suburbly witty and inventive comedy. But then it says, in director Stuart Bozell's overheated production, it's hard to discern what that more is. The actors shout so much and so loudly with such a hodgepodge of accents and dialects and rushed garble articulation that chunks of dialogue tend to get lost. even more problematic. The relationships among some of the characters lack credibility, and then it goes on and on and on. So, I'm going to add this one to the show notes. It's a review for this play. Frankly, I think it's all very subjective, and you know that theater critics are always very hard on these things.
Yeah,
so,
yeah they are.
Well,
I'm sure it's
I
very
wonder
enjoyable.
how much of somebody's review can depend on if they have a good seat or not, too.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's a good point. So, but it ends tomorrow. So hopefully, if you're a Clive Barker fan, you've already got a chance to, in the Bay Area, you already had a chance to go see this play. Let us know what you thought of it.
Hellraiser Judgment. So we've been all sort of trying to reserve judgment, I guess, pun intended, on this movie. But the release date on it is March 28th, 2017. So my recollection was that it had to come out before the end of this year, but maybe that just means they have to have their one, screening that they're going to have.
Could be. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure of the contractual obligations.
So they might have that one with the cast and crew, this month, and then it'll have a wide release in March.
I just noticed that Paul Taylor commented on our page. The actor who plays Pinhead, I think he commented on our page. Someone said something about, there was one of our listeners said something like, I don't have it in front of me, so I'm just paraphrasing. He said, this poor guy, fans are always gonna criticize him for it, even if he does a good job. And then Paul Taylor posted a picture of himself as Pinhead saying, "Sad Pinhead." And it was a picture of Pinhead with the pins on his face, and he was just sideways. It looked like a continuity shot from the special effects thing. But, I thought that was funny.
That's cool.
Paul Taylor commented.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
It could be surprise. It could be a pleasant surprise. I mean, you never know.
It's tough to hold out a lot of hope for it when it's being made just to hold on to the movie rights.
True. But I think Gary Tunnicliffe, to his credit, wants to try to make it something good.
Yeah.
And to his, say whatever you want about, how the behind the scenes, how Doug was treated, which, is all very, understandable. I think Doug was treated very poorly in this situation, but I think at the end of the day, I still think Gary Tunnicliffe is wanting to try to make a good picture. I don't think nobody wants to make a bad movie.
Right.
What about Uwe Boll? I think he wants to make bad movies.
No, he didn't think anything he made was bad. He was
really?
No. He loved it. He loved his movies.
Oh, God.
Jump on a boxing ring and fight the fans who criticized it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we don't have to worry about him because he retired.
Yeah. Well, his movies were some kind of German tax shelter, right?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, lots of money from that to make all these crappy films.
I'm not huge on Uwe Boll, so I don't know much about his work. I've seen maybe a couple of his movies, and I don't think I finished watching them. So I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, they're all based on video games, almost.
So save the date, March 28th, 2017.
Yep.
It's probably going to come out the same way that Revelations came out, probably like a normal Blu-ray at some point, and then maybe a very limited theatrical release, if any. I don't know. Did Revelations have a theatrical release that
I think
people could go to, or was it just
one screening for the cast and crew? I think.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Okay.
But this movie has a bigger budget than Revelations.
Mm-hmm.
So
let's see.
I don't know. Yeah, it'll probably just be on demand and Blu-rays. But
I wonder now if Paul T. Taylor does a good job on this, and if this movie ends up redeeming somehow Revelations, which remains to be seen. Let's see if Paul T. Taylor gets a chance to revisit the Pinhead character in another sequel or remake. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll just be able to know once we see the movie. So
it seems like there's been sort of irreparable damage done to the Hellraiser brand in making it like a slasher franchise where you have to have the Pinhead character. Like you can't have Friday the 13th without without Jason, and you can't have Nightmare on Elm Street without Freddy. So now they've decided you can't have Hellraiser without Pinhead. And it's kind of too bad, because I think this big star of that movie franchise should have been the world that they come from and the mythology, and it's just sort of been
so much
left behind.
Material.
Yeah.
So much material.
Well, I still want to see if Seraphin manages to post the new Hellraiser anthology graphic novel that they're announcing for a 2017 release. It's going to be an in-house produced comic book graphic novel about Hellraiser. It's going to be another one of Seraphin's projects that they're working on. And I saw some pages being completed by Danielle Serra, which is the same artist that did the cover for Barbie Wilde's Venus Complex. You remember that?
Right, yeah. He was a good artist. Yeah. He is a good artist.
And I saw that the pages look really amazing. So if I can find those, I'll add it to show notes as well.
Yeah. I'm excited about that too. That will be great. And just to see what they can come up with. I wonder how widely released, like how many copies they'll make of those things.
I don't know. They're going to distribute it through Barker's online store, realclivebarker.com, both as a hardcover print edition and a DRM-free PDF download. So I'm guessing it's going to be the usual stuff, like limited edition hardcover, because it's self-published.
Yeah.
But I'm sure the PDF is going to be the widely available, forever, probably.
Yeah.
The material is going to push the envelope as far as, like, they can take it since it's in-house, and they're not going to be bound by any kind of restrictions, I think. I think it's really going to push it. And
Christian was saying that, too, and I asked him, I said, were there any kind of censorship problems with Boom? And he's like, no, Boom was great. We just want to be able to have control over it ourselves. So I don't really know. I don't know exactly like what, if there was anything where they felt like they couldn't do something because of Boom Studios. But
so talking about the Hellraiser Judgment coming out in late March, and I wonder which one's going to come out first.
Right. Well, I mean, I think it's probably safe to assume that the comic will be better.
Yeah.
I'm not buying this though. The first day, I'm gonna wait till I see the general consensus of the movie is.
Okay.
If it's positive, or I don't think I'm gonna. Yeah. I can't take a chance of wasting money.
That sounds very careful.
All right. So we can't drag you in and make you watch it for the podcast.
Well, yeah, but there's I can do a review, but I'm just I don't know if I'm going to buy it if you can catch.
Yeah. Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh my God.
By the way, on the topic of Hellraiser, I have something to say, which was Santa's going to bring me a copy of the Arrow U.S. version of the Hellraiser set 1, 2, and 3 with the limited edition book by Phil and Sarah. So
nice.
For a moment there,
You'll enjoy it.
Yeah, awesome. I know you made a good review for it on the blog, and I was just a couple of weeks ago. Amazon announced that it was currently unavailable, and so people were wondering, "Oh, what about my pre-order? Am I going to get a copy?" And I was a little cautious about that too. I was wondering, okay, I wonder if we're still going to get a copy. And then we finally got the shipping notice recently.
Good.
So it should be
put
here
in
on
a
the
pre-order
20th.
also when David said, "Hey Ryan, it's back up. Get on it right now." So I did, and I didn't know if anybody in my family was planning on getting it for me because they kind of all have access to my Amazon list, but I don't want to take a chance.
Yeah.
On missing it. So this is one of those things where you're not hurt too badly if you have two.
Yeah, that's right. So
the price for that went really cheap. It started off at $130 and went down to about $70.
Yeah, that's great.
Even less. I remember at one point it was like $68 or $67.30 or something like that. It was really discounted.
And I think the only complaint that I'd heard was David saying that with Hellraiser 3 being in widescreen, you can see stuff that you shouldn't be able to see, like behind the pillar or the torture pillar or whatever. You can see them pulling the chains or whatever, and that makes me wonder because the theatrical movie must have been in widescreen. So is that just what it was like in the theater too?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I mean, I saw it in the theater, but I don't remember.
You're not gonna be looking at that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Hellraiser 3, all the copies that I had until the Anchor Bay set were all like 4:3 aspect ratio. So then I got the widescreen one with the Anchor Bay set that folded to make the box. It came out maybe 2006 or something. I don't know. And I didn't notice anything, but this was a DVD, and the transfer was a little dark. So But yeah, I'll keep an eye out because these are 4K transfers, I think.
Yeah.
So that's going to be amazing to see in a 55-inch TV.
Yeah.
But do you have a UHD TV?
No. I have a 3D capable TV, but it's just a 55-inch.
Yeah, mine I can only do 1080p. Also, I don't have like 4K or anything.
Okay. Yeah, I guess the thing is you just see it the size of your TV. You don't get to see all the resolution because it's not 4 times bigger the screen, right? Otherwise, yeah. So that's the only thing. It just downscales it a little bit.
Yeah.
Now just a quick question. I don't mean to go off the topic. Like about 4K, they're releasing all. Do you have to have these movies that are 4K that are coming released? So you have to have a 4K like TV to be able to watch them? No. Okay.
No. You'll just watch it.
You just can't. It just won't. It'll look better on a 4K TV than it would on a regular HD TV.
Because I guess the resolution of the TV is going to be a little better, but you're still going to find it's crystal clear on a normal 1080p TV. So
yeah, because those Hellraisers, they all look great. I couldn't ask for a better picture for all of them.
Yeah, and I have Hellraiser 1 and 2 on Blu-ray, and I love them in HD. So I'll be interested to see how this comes out. But I think for me the main thing I wanted was the book, Phil and Sarah's book that comes with it.
It's really good.
And Hellraiser 3, because the copy I have of Hellraiser 3 is terrible.
I know you're stuck with that 4.3 piece of crap.
Yeah, exactly. I won't miss that at all.
No.
Although I think it's in a compilation, so I'm not going to be getting rid of it. But
yeah.
So the next item on the news is that the Yattering and Jack prints are available again. So basically, back in the early 90s, Iniquities magazine published the Clive Barker Yattering and Jack, along with some original black and white artwork that he had provided for the story. In 2001, they made 35 signed copies of this artwork. Now, Gauntlet Press is selling a few of these unique collector's items that can't be bought on the secondary market.
Yeah.
So actually, the price has gone down. They were originally priced at $299, and now they're selling these last copies for $199. So check those out. Check the article on our blog, and I hope you can get one if you're interested, because there's only 35 signed copies that were made.
I love how resourceful the people at Seraphim are. You can just imagine that they're, combing through all the stuff, looking for old projects to bring back and things to publish that were previously unpublished, and so it's nice to see these things coming back into availability again.
Yeah, they were forgotten somewhere, and someone found a few more copies, and that's always a good stuff for Clive Barker fans and collectors.
So I had made a post on the blog about Clive Barker deals, and one of them it was a Craigslist ad that's was somebody's whole Nightbreed or Clive Barker comics collection. That's already gone. But Michael Plumides has his. And it's hard to gauge that. He asked us what do we think the value should be on it, and it's really hard to gauge on something like this. But it's his, limited edition Nightbreed director's cut Blu-ray set, and he's got autographs from anybody you can think of, like Simon Bamford, Nicholas Vince, and Bobby, Chris McCorkindale himself, Clive Barker, Mark
as executive
Miller.
Producer.
Yeah, so he's got tons of autographs on there, and he was asking me, what do I think the value is on something like that? And it's I don't know. But he had it at $650 to start with, and now it's at $500.
It's on eBay, so
yeah, it's on eBay, and we'll have a link in the show notes for that.
Wow, I was just looking at that Craigslist post for the collection of comics you mentioned first, and That seemed like quite a steal. It's 108.
Yeah.
There were 118 Clive Barker comics.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little over $1 a piece, but wow! I mean, you got like Hellraiser comic books, Pinhead, Weave World, Primal. That was a good collection. Whoever snatched these, that's a good starter pack right there for Clive Barker comic books.
Yeah, and I don't have the Weave World comics. I was like, man, and I don't have a complete set of the '90s Hellraiser comics either.
Oh, okay, I see. Well, the Weave World is just I think 2 or 3. I think it's a 3-issue adaptation, so it's good. It's good.
Oh wait, no, I think maybe I do have Weave World. Now I forget.
It's not hard to find it if you need it.
Yeah, I think it might be just the Hellraiser comics that I don't have them all. So
that's box set of Nightbreed. Looks pretty sweet. I mean, this thing is completely sold out, and this has all these signatures on it, which adds to the value. So go check it out. He also accepts Facebook messages with your best offer. So
there may be this. So this is kind of more of a discussion point, but it was kind of leaked on Instagram, right, by Mark Miller, that they're in talks to do a Great and Secret Show TV show.
Yeah, it sounds like we're bearing the lead in this episode, but Josh Boone on Instagram, actually, he posted from Josh Boone Movies a picture saying, Owen King and I will bring Clive Barker's The Great and Secret Show to television with real Clive Barker and Mark Allen Miller. And he posted a montage of Clive Barker's Great and Secret Show covers and stuff. So, yes, Josh Boone has been a guy who's worked in some really cool films.
Is he the same guy that also announced Imagica?
Imagica, yeah, I think so. That's what I was thinking about. I was like, I've heard this name.
I think so. I'd have to look into that. But
he was like he was working on The Stand or something like that, and he was going to do that first, and so that it seemed like it was a long time from now.
Yeah, I mean, I found him on IMDb, and I was looking at his profile, and so he's been involved in things like here it is, The Fault in Our Stars, a movie, X-Men: The New Mutant. He's the writer for this upcoming film of the X-Men: New Mutants. He was also a writer for The Stand, which is announced. It's not. I don't know when it's coming out yet, but all these are pre-production filming announced on IMDb, and of course, X-Men.
I wonder if
The Fault in Our Stars came out in 2014.
I wonder if this is taking the place of Imagica then.
Maybe.
You never know, but it's certainly going to be a litmus test to see if they can do Imagica. If they can do Great and Secret Show and it's successful, I'm sure that will help a lot in making other shows based on Clive Barker properties.
I think that if they do it, they should call it Clive Barker's The Art, and then just let it go right in through, keep on going right through Everville.
Yeah, but, when is the third book of The Art coming out?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's the same problem that they have with Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah, because, well, here's my point of view on this. It's like if he adapts the first book, that's going to be pretty good to begin with.
Yeah.
Okay, because we need a Clive Barker property to get back on TV or the theater. And
exactly.
I think you could probably get 3 seasons of a TV show out of the Great and Secret Show.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I mean
so you do that, plus. And then you do another 3 seasons for Everville, and then he's got 6 years to write the next book.
That's real optimistic. I hope it happens that way. I really do, Ryan. I really do.
Yeah.
So I hope this is going to be tremendous. I hope this is going to be huge.
Yeah.
Mark Allen Miller, I'm reading on the comments. It has like a little comments on this little link you shared, and it's like it's so on. So that can only be a positive thing right there. So
that's right. Mark's comment on Josh Boone's picture was, "It's on. It's so on." So yeah, let's see what comes out of this. They kind of pulled this one out of the hat because
And Phil and Sarah Stokes replied, "Please be gentle with our favorite Clive Barker."
I agree. I subscribe to that. Yep.
Well, I think going back to what I was saying, if they just take their time and do it really faithful and build it out slowly, then they could get more than one season out of a book.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The only question here is how much money they have for this. And because, I remember the adaptation on the comic book of Great and Secret Show. That was meant to be just like six volumes or something, and then they increased it up to 10.
Or 12, I think.
12, because Clive was like, I don't think we were able to do that. We would have to, like, synthesize the story too much, and it would lose some of that scope. So that's why they increased it up to 12, I think. So let's see what happens here.
Yeah, it would be a shame for them to start cutting out characters, because there are a lot, like Buddy Vance. They could, I could see them going, oh, just get rid of that guy, and I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm of the opinion that TV and movies are a different medium from books, so I don't think it takes anything out of the existing book to make like an adaptation. I mean, if anything, I would like to think of these TV shows as a gateway for people who are interested in the story to discover Clive Barker's books and then, move on from the TV onto the books, which is obviously a much better medium when it comes to, on TV you're limited by your budget, but in a book you're just limited by your imagination. So that's always going to be better.
Well, and even sometimes it's hard to wrap our head around an adaptation if it takes liberties. But even Clive Barker made changes with Hellraiser, from the Hellbound part. So
yeah, and Nightbreed. So
yeah, they're not. We just have to accept the fact that they're not going to be 100%, 1-to-1 ratio. But I think that it could be close.
I'm ready to see some new Clive Barker stuff on the big screen or something, man. I just want some new Clive Barker.
Yeah. I wonder how Aberrat 4 is coming out. We haven't heard much about it in a long time.
Yeah, there were a few drafts done, and I think Clive Barker kept restarting the book and going through another draft and another draft. So hopefully Kree Rising, isn't it the working title for this? So
that's like the fourth working title for this book.
When did the last book came out? When did Aberrat 3 came out?
2012, I think.
Okay, it's been 4 years, so yeah. I would love to see that. I know he's working on kind of like volume 4 and 5 at the same time, but it's focusing more on the.
Or it might have been 2011, actually.
Fourth volume now.
Because I think it was before we started the podcast.
Yeah.
Because it was at that book signing is the time that I went and visited the Seraphim office.
Okay.
Has he been working on Aberrat for about 20 years now? The whole thing?
Yeah.
I'm talking about this whole story?
Was
the Book of Hours?
2002 was the first release. And then, and it was like 98 or something when he started writing. Yeah,
I think it was more close to the mid-90s, actually.
Really?
The Book of Hours was a thing that he was drawing stuff for, but he still didn't know what it was going to be. He thought it was just going to be like a smaller book with like some paintings and stuff. And then it just started growing from there, and you know how
it became the Aberrat Quartet, which was supposed to be 4 books, and then he decided it needed to be 5. Well, and the third book of the Art, too, it seems like maybe that will be next after Aberrat is done, but, we don't really know. I mean, he's got his own agenda and his own views, and you just kind of have to ride the waves.
Yeah, ride the waves of creativity.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Simon Bamford has a demo reel on Internet Movie Database, imdb.com, so, go look at his profile and check out his demo reel. I didn't look at it yet, because he said something about there would be spoilers on it for movies that he's in, and I was like, I don't want spoilers, so I didn't watch it, but...
Well, we've been sharing stuff on the page and on the blog. Whenever, like, people like Nicholas Vince, now he's on iTunes, his show, Chattering with Nicholas Vince. So, yeah, we've been sharing stuff from, like, Barbie Wild also has some stuff coming out. And so I saw Simon post something, and I was like, all right, let's share this too. So, yeah, it's always fun.
Yeah, our show, I think, really picked up when we had Simon and Nicholas Vince on in our first year there.
Those were some good episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went back and listened to that stuff. It's really good.
Ryan, you came out with your review for Clive Barker's Jericho on YouTube, which is pretty fun.
Great video. Yeah, that was a great review.
It took me a long time of editing because I edited, like 8 hours of the video game. into a
Wow.
review.
Yeah, you made like a 37-minute review, and I like
Which
it.
also include part of it was maybe 10 minutes of it was our interview with
Chris Velasco.
Chris Velasco, yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff, especially you make some funny voices imitating the Cenobites near the end.
Or that narrator, right, that starts out the game.
Yeah.
Jericho.
And you gave it like a 10 out of 10 for writing, 8 out of 10 for gameplay, and I think you gave it 10 out of 10 for visuals and sound.
Yeah. I love the game. I mean, I think that the gameplay is frustrating sometimes, and that part bugged me, and then the narrator voice bugged me.
Yeah, this review made me start up another campaign.
Oh, really?
But after a few days, I was like, I got so frustrated again, I had to stop.
Well,
because I have a hard time with that game.
There is no there's no reward at all for playing it on a higher difficulty. I mean, except, like, I guess if you're trying to get trophies or achievements or whatever. But if you play it on easy, it's almost, you get the same ending and everything. So
yeah,
I would definitely put it on easy.
Yeah, and all those enemies are just such bullet sponges, and it's if you go on the hard setting, it takes forever to go through those.
It's like the behavior of the enemies doesn't change. I think there are just a few more enemies, and they take more bullets.
I think a few things that I would have changed if I would have had a say in the game would have been, for example, obviously the enemies needed to be less of bullet sponges. You know, I mean, they should make ammunition be something a little more powerful. At the same time, something you'd have to look for on the map instead of just having to magically transport new ammo into your dimension. It's like, how does that even work? You know, because it's this one member of your team that gives everybody ammunition that they receive from another dimension, and it's like that's kind of hard to suspend your disbelief. It's like, oh no, we're trapped in, you know, this alternate dimension, this piece of the firstborn or whatever, and it's, how is she getting the ammo? You know.
Well, yeah, if she can do that, she can get everybody out.
Yeah.
I would have put like ammo packs in the maps or something that would make you have to go and pick them up. Of course, then people would say, where are these packs coming from? But in a first-person shooter, it's hard to make it realistic.
There were also times where you would be going down a narrow hallway and you've got like 8 people on your team, and so you crouch behind a pillar or whatever, and you sort of inch out to shoot all these enemies that are coming at you. And 10 of your teammates all walk in front of you so that you're shooting them in the back of the head instead of shooting the enemies.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, I got this. Cover. And they run up to those exploding guys, and then they get killed. And they're like, help!
And then you have to go and revive them and stuff. And then you're the one facing like 5 or 6 guys, and ultimately everybody dies.
That's the biggest problem for me, was the, moving around other people. Yeah, that's the problem I have with the game. I would rather it much be just one person, and if you want to have you play as one person, and then that's it. You know, I mean, I don't mind the group aspect. That's cool, but I don't like. I think you should. I thought this being
because you really have to shoot all the enemies in the head, because shooting them in the torso doesn't really do anything. But that's what all your teammates do, is shoot them in the torso.
Yeah, you have to be really a guy who wants to play around with the mechanics and the superpowers of each team member from the Jericho squad.
Yeah.
Because if you do that, then it becomes more entertaining, but it's also more hard work, because you have to keep switching from this guy to that guy, and then use this power, and then use that power.
It's just, it was just frustrating. It just got to be so frustrating. But I mean, it's a good game. I mean, I highly recommend to anybody. Just, some games are harder than others.
Yeah.
If you can play it nowadays, because since Windows has been changing so much, some Windows systems don't even work with this game anymore. But there's always ways of getting it to work. So.
Oh, I ran into that with Undying. So I put it in. I have an old Mac Mini, and I loaded and I reformatted it and put an old version of Mac OS on it so I could play Undying, and then the game wouldn't load. Like, I think it has a smudge on it or something. And then I tried to load Mac OS 9, and I couldn't get that to load because this computer won't boot in OS 9 because it was right at the time when they were switching to OS 10, and so they only had classic support mode instead of, which is like an emulator environment instead of like being able to boot directly into OS 9.
No, I see.
So I just gave up and put MorphOS back on it, and
yeah, I
guess
uploaded.
I can't play that game.
Oh, that's too bad. I uploaded the first part of my Undying playthrough. I have another part ready to go. I have some more footage that I need to break up into episodes. So I'll be posting a couple more sections this month, and I'm doing my best to finish the game and upload the Let's Play Undying. I have it with a widescreen mod, so you get to see the widescreen version of the game, and I also use the texture patch because there was a texture patch that upgraded the textures a little bit. So I use that as well.
The widescreen mod doesn't just stretch it out; it actually gives you more like screen real estate, or you can see more to the sides of you.
Yes, it does that a little bit. Yeah. So.
Well, that's cool.
It stretches things out in the cutscenes, but during the gameplay, it gives you more field of vision, I guess.
Oh, they should have just put pillar boxes on the cutscenes.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's what we have on the site, and
we did Candyman 2 and Midnight Meat Train audio commentaries. If you didn't hear them in the podcast feed,
and you did this really good. Well, I mean, if you want to stay talking on that, I'm just gonna say I read it today. I had not really seen it until today. Was that Nightbreed God of Miniatures with Julian Perry? That was.
Yeah, that was a cool feature.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that.
That was cool. That was Julian. I've known him from Facebook ever since Occupy Midian started. That's when we got in touch with a lot of people who worked in the movies.
Yeah.
A lot of these like movie magicians that work in effects departments. Julian Perry of JPVFX Production Services. He started work in a James Bond movie, a couple of James Bond films like Octopussy, and he worked in Aliens.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he worked in Clive Barker's Nightbreed. Obviously, he was. He worked in Titanic, Blood and Steel, which was a cool miniseries, and also Farscape. So he was writing. He was looking at his diaries, and he thought that he came across an entry that was pretty cool. So he sent it over to me, and that's basically his recollections of how he was introduced to Bob Keane, and then Bob was working with Clive Barker on the Hellraiser series, and then sometime in 1989 or 1988 or whatever, they ended up meeting in a pre-production meeting. And that's, so he talks about the shoot. He talks about the people that he worked with. He talks about some of the fun things that he did. And I added a few more.
Something about a 6-picture deal.
Yeah, I know. Well, I've heard of the 3-picture deal, so I think it might be more of a 3-picture deal. Sometimes people write things a little inaccurately, but I remember Nightbreed was supposed to be the first of a planned 3-picture deal that was going to also include an adaptation of Son of Celluloid from the Books of Blood and a sequel to Nightbreed, which never happened.
Oh, man.
The 90s were awesome for these movies. I mean, yeah.
Well, and it's amazing how many things didn't come out.
Yeah, and he also had shared some pictures on Occupy Midian of the miniature sets for the destruction of Midian, that barn that we see where the Midian are hiding. That's a miniature. And also when Boone is bit and he's trying to run away from Kinski and Peloquin, he comes across this group of mausoleums where he kind of checks his jacket, starts feeling lightheaded, and everything goes around in circles. When we see those mausoleums just going round and round, that was a miniature. That was a camera with a first perspective, and there was a wooden rig, and you could see
looking at it right now. That's really cool.
Yeah, you would never have known that. I just had assumed that it was a camera up above the mausoleum.
Yeah, that's what I was thought too.
That's cool.
So it was cool. He said he will turn this into a book at some point of his career and his recollections, so we'll keep people posted about that.
Oh, neat. Well, you had already mentioned that you're working on finishing up the Let's Play for Clive Barker's Undying, and Jose, you're also in the process of still working on the mini documentary for Hellraiser Bloodline.
Yeah, that's right. And I got some really good confirmations on a few details that I was looking for from people like Peter Atkins and Phil and Sarah from Revelations, and I was also in touch with Paul Kane, who wrote the Hellraiser films and their legacy. So it's coming, guys. It's almost here. I'm still working on this. I want this to be the best thing that I can do with all the information that I can find, and so Rob is going to help me out as well. As soon as I have this all written down and to start editing, I'm going to send it over to Rob, see if he has any things he wants to add to the script of what we're doing. And I'm not an editor. I'm not a filmmaker. I'm not a documentarian. So for me, it's kind of hard to learn how to do some things. But I've been working on a little animations here and there and some.
Oh, you'll be fine.
Opening titles and stuff. So. Cool. Yeah, it's going to come pretty soon. I promise you that come January, we're going to start having some episodes of it and maybe release it as episodes and then come up with the final version in one video standalone. So that's something to look forward to.
Definitely. I really am looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too.
Me three.
Yeah. It's just something that we were talking about it, Jose. It's like I love troubled productions for some reason. What goes on behind, the scenes, why, stuff happens the way it does. Something that starts off good and then just turns bad.
They sort of turn into kind of a mystery, too, because the directors usually don't want to talk about them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I was saying to Phil and Sarah a couple of days ago, they were asking me about what was the scope of this documentary and stuff, and I was like, well, I was always fascinated with Bloodline, albeit to a smaller extent than I was with Nightbreed, because of the troubled production and because they were both movies that had plenty to go by of their original vision. You have scripts, you have pictures, you have a work print. You can create this sort of alternate reality of what they could have been. Luckily for Nightbreed, the director's cut became a reality, but for Hellraiser Bloodline, there isn't a group of fans as hungry for a director's cut, and definitely there is no director willing to work on this Alan Smithy film to give us anything else but, the VHS work print that we found back in the summer of 2006.
What I think would be cool, I know this is just, me just thinking out loud. I think it'd be cool if somebody would go back, get the actual footage, the actual film of whatever, I guess, Kevin Yeager's director's cut, if it was ever printed to film. Or let him give him some money to go back and finish the movie with whatever effects.
Do the effects.
Yeah, because I think at that time, you could. The technology's gotten better, and a lot of the effects he could do, and
it would be cheaper
somehow.
It'd
be cheaper. I think.
Well,
that's just again. That's just fan.
Yeah.
Just talking as a fan, that's not going to happen.
The thing is, I don't think that Kevin Yeager has any interest in going back. It would be great if there would be some sort of director's cut of this, but I have my doubts that could happen. It would be great though.
The best thing that could happen would probably be like a really new transfer of the theatrical cut with a bunch of behind the scenes, I guess featurettes talking about the film, or they could put the work print out as like a side thing.
Yeah, that would be really cool. That would be really cool if they could find a good copy of that.
Yeah.
If they could find a good copy of that, because the only thing that's out there, like I said, that came out 10 years ago, was a VHS work print that has since been released on the internet, and bootleg DVDs have been sold and stuff like that, which is
downgraded,
kind of iffy.
Kind of downgraded in quality. I think the first time I saw it, the quality was excellent, but now the versions I've seen afterwards are kind of really kind of
a copy. I guess it's from a VHS that's kind of a little like you still have all the time codes on it and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, yeah, it would be great to see that come out in an official form. But it's just something to keep in mind. It is an Alan Smithy film. It's one of those things that, while I was working on Hellraiser Bloodline, I came across this kind of, I wouldn't call it a prejudice, but it's like this joke that surrounds some movies in the 90s, like, oh, Jason went to space, Leprechaun went to space, and Pinhead went to space too. And it's like, they think it's kind of hammy. Some people think it's kind of like one of the bad Hellraisers. I think it's a good Hellraiser. I still think it's a good Hellraiser.
Yeah, and it's not really a fair comparison. I mean, like, comparing it to, like, Leprechauns in space or whatever. It's, you know, it was a a big part of the story of, you know, of the movie. I don't know. I mean, it's not a gimmick.
That wasn't the way the movie was supposed to start, though. See, the reason it gets thrown into that whole space,
because they wanted Pinhead in the beginning instead of the middle.
Originally it's supposed to start in the 18th century and just, go as a linear story. But when they started messing around with the structure and it starts in space, then you got a totally different kind of take on the film.
Yeah, the whole movie is a flashback of a merchant in chains talking to the Space Marines, and then he tells them what happened throughout the centuries with his family and the bloodline and all that stuff. But originally it was supposed to be more like, we're just going to follow this family through the years, and so it was going to go from the past to the present to the future. It wasn't going to start in the future, and then everything is like a flashback. That kind of messed it up a bit, yeah.
That's why the work print's kind of cool, because it does kind of give that kind of structure to it. That's why I like it. You're following it like in a linear manner, even though you're missing all this stuff from the beginning of it. Because in the beginning of the work print, it never shows the toy maker at all.
Yeah, that's right. And the toy maker was also different from what I think some of the fans were expecting, because at this time they had read the Hellraiser comics that came out from Marvel, and
the books
in those, yeah, absolutely. Like the Le Marchand from the Hellbound Heart is a very vague character. We don't really get a lot of insight on how much of, if it was evil, if it was good. Well, obviously, he made something that was a gateway to hell, so he can't be a nice guy. But I think that he really got fleshed out in a very satisfying way in the comic books, in the Book of the Damned, and the Hellraiser comic books that came out from Epic. And then this movie kind of twisted it around a little bit. But, I think if Peter Atkins had his vision put, in the script, put to the screen, it would have been a really cool movie. And it was just like all this interference, again, from the same people who interfered in making Hellraiser 6, Joe Chappelle and Rand Ravitch, who wrote the extra scenes and stuff. And they were the same people.
And Harvey Weinstein, too. Wasn't he the one that said, where's Pinhead? I want him in the beginning.
Yeah, Bob Weinstein.
Oh, Bob Weinstein.
Oh, well, I guess. I know some producers are complaining about that, so. Yeah. But, let's wait for the
doc.
The doc to come out.
And the other thing we've been kind of kicking around, and we haven't. Normally we would have had it up and running by now, but we haven't done our new fundraiser yet. Partly it's because we've been waiting for some of our to get put together what our rewards backer rewards would be, and also just to kind of throw this out there for listeners. Do you have any ideas of what kinds of things you would like us to see us accomplish for next year? Because, I mean, we know what we think would be cool, and we'll probably be doing that too. But if you have any ideas, maybe things that we wouldn't think of, let us know. Yeah,
if two heads think better than one, I mean, 1,000 heads will think better than three. So send us your suggestions and send us your ideas for things you would like us to do. I mean, we have some things in the chute ready to work on for 2017, like, Clive Barker's A through Z of Horror. It's a TV show that was published by the BBC years ago. And there's also a book. That's one of the things that we can discuss. And, there's also more novels from Clive Barker that we still haven't done. We're running low on the movies that we can do commentary tracks for.
Yeah.
So
Just
maybe we could do a commentary track for Hellraiser Judgment.
Yeah, Hellraiser Judgment, and the Masters of Horror movies. We didn't do those.
Right.
Yeah.
Valerie on the Stairs.
And Hellraiser Bloodline.
Yeah, that's true. So, apart from those things, what else do you want us to talk about? What Clive Barker stuff would you like to have discussed on the podcast?
Yeah.
Holler out to us on Facebook and on our blog.
And goals and stretch goals. We're working all that stuff out too, and I think probably by the time we get to the end of this month, we'll have it figured out. What was it? Oh, speaking of that, our final episode, I don't know if it'll be this year or maybe the beginning of January, but we'll also be doing our traditional, year in review episode. And Rob, you said you'll join us for that one, right?
Yeah.
Even if it's January?
Yeah, that's fine. And just a note to all the listeners, I'm going to be leaving the podcast just for a little bit to try to get some stuff together in my life. But I'm working on my times with the podcast, but I've been doing it for the past 2 years, so I'm probably going to post that.
Oh, cool.
As a kind of a reflection on my time writing, doing stuff.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
And we'll still keep in touch. Obviously.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm not never say never, I'm just taking a little break.
Yeah, and it's an open door, of course. Anytime you want to come back.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or even just a little bit. You don't have to commit to it.
If you just want to do the commentary track for Hellraiser Bloodline.
Yeah.
Or Hellraiser Judgment.
Lots of good insight.
No,
if I want to.
But except you have to do Hellraiser Judgment. You've got no choice. You have to watch Hellraiser Judgment several times.
Okay, I'll give you that one. All right. But, it's been great. So I'll post that up when I get it done, hopefully for Christmas. I've been working on it.
So, I guess our next one will be 2016 in review. And if you have anything, give us your thoughts. What, out there listening, what did you like about 2016, Clive Barker related? Don't, not necessarily the U.S. elections, but
ouch. Oh, geez, that was a low blow.
And, I want to wish everybody a happy holiday season and stay safe and have fun.
Yeah, definitely, have a good one home.
Yeah. You can find the show notes for this page and lots of Clive Barker news and features at www.clivebarkercast.com. Leave comments there or get them directly into the podcast by clicking the Send Voicemail tab on the right. Please follow us on Twitter at BarkerCast or at Occupy Midian, like us on Facebook, and join the Occupy Midian Facebook group. You can listen on the site or subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Libsyn, TuneIn, Pocket Cast, Google Play, and Double Twist. Subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Please take a couple of minutes to leave us a review on iTunes. It means the world to us and helps us spread the word about Clive Barker. The Clive Barker Podcast, or BarkerCast, is an independent editorial fan site and podcast that is not affiliated with or under contract by Clive Barker or Seraphim Films. This is a labor of love by the fans for the fans.
Thanks for listening.